Morning, everyone. Coach Curtis Phelan here. I just wanted to pop in here real quick. I actually have a doctor's appointment. Getting a colonoscopy today, which is great. Anyways, getting older. Um, anyways, guys, today we're going to talk about how to overcome resistance. So, I've been talking, if you watch the last couple of lives, on what resistance is. Let me find my notes here. I just put these together. I forgot where I put them. So, how do we overcome resistance and implement effective strategies to achieve our goals? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be real quick. These little videos, I just want to share what I've been really focusing on lately to help people, not only myself, but other people, achieve what they want in their life, overcome the things that stop us and block us and get in our way, right? That things that slow us down and stop us from achieving what we want in our life and living a life of achievement and fulfillment. So, this act of resistance that we're talking about, right? It's a perpetual challenge that seems to attack us relentlessly. So it's, if you recall from the previous videos, it's constantly going on at all times, every split second, at all times. There's no like break from it. It's constant, right? It's a constant force, and it's especially prevalent there when we're contemplating doing work, going to work, doing something, taking some actions, exercise, any critical tasks that propel us forward, that help us grow, right? So it's an incessant force, I should say. It's driving us crazy, right? It's begging the question of how to conquer it. Like, how do we conquer this? How do we beat this thing that is constantly trying to keep us safe, keep us comfortable, which isn't always best for growth and achievement and success, right? So in my research, I came across some insightful concepts from Annie Gracie's motion versus action framework. So many of us fall into the trap of motion. It's kind of like a circular activity that feels like progress, but it lacks true direction. So Napoleon Hill termed this circular motion as hypnotic rhythm. Okay, but action, however, it involves moving decisively towards a goal, right? So it has to have a clear direction and actual cost. So a lot of times, we're taking action, but we're not really accomplishing anything. We're not achieving anything. We're not moving closer to that goal. I guess you could relate that to because it has to involve, those actions have to involve some type of cost, right? So resistance, like I said, it tends to be a circular motion. I always like to use a figure eight because it's kind of like, like those old, if you're as old as me, those old racetracks are like figure eights, right? You're just constantly going this way and that way and this way. It's like, what if this happens? And what about that? But I know I should, I know I should do that, or I want to do that, but that's going to be uncomfortable, or it's going to cost me money, or it's going to cost me time, or I'd just rather just sit here and instead of going on vacation, I'll watch a video on a vacation, or whatever. Instead of going to the movies, I'll watch one at home. Just things that keep us from experiencing life and living fulfilled. Things like that. So what else did I put in here? So resistance, it tends to keep us in that circular motion. It creates that illusion of progress instead of the tangible result. Okay, so to combat this, okay, we need to embrace action where there's a clear direction and potential success or failure with associated costs. So I'm trying to think of some ideas. You can probably think of some ideas of how this shows up in your life. Like, so here's a perfect example. So a lot of the people I speak to every day are coaches, right? Business coaches specifically. So so a lot of times, coaches are misled that they can just get online and start getting all these clients and life is great and you make all this money. Okay. Well, it's a business, and any business requires action. It requires cost associated with those actions. So regardless if you're going to get clients online or offline, there's some cost involved. So if you're going to do it offline, right, you're going to go to networking events, create joint ventures, start doing live events where you're going to be teaching business owners something to improve their business. there's costs involved in those things. It doesn't necessarily mean to be financially, because a lot of the coaches I train, it doesn't cost them any money to do the strategies. What it costs them is getting out of their comfort zone, taking the action, getting in their car and going to a networking event, or or facing that fear of rejection. If they're doing a live event and they're getting on stage, right? The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, right? That deathly fear of public speaking, right? But unless you do that thing, you're not going to get the reward. So everything around that, like thinking about it, learning about it, all of that stuff that feels like we're taking action, we're moving towards that. It's not action. You got to actually do the thing, right? Learning about it is not really going to get you that thing. You just need to go do it, right? It's one of the biggest challenges for coaches out there. They're learning this. They're going to this getting this certification, getting that course. I started coaching over 25 years ago. I never had a certification when I started. Okay, I've gotten certifications just because I've helped build certification companies, but I just, that's the only reason. No clients ever ask me for certification. You know what I mean? The certification I have are results. I learned from Tony Robbins. His training was, here's the teaching, get up out of your seat, leave, do not come back until you have the result. That's how we learned. We actually had to get up, go get clients before a certain deadline. Those days, not every day, but those days during that training, it was 28 days. The initial training was 28 days in a room with Tony, Joseph McClendon, and Tony's team, and we were challenged every day. They would literally say, yeah, okay, to get a client, you get up, go get a client using this strategy, and if you don't come back with that person, with a client, by after lunch or whatever, don't come back. That's the truth. That's exactly how we learned. So that's rewarding. It's fulfilling, right? It's scary as hell, right? When you're just learning and you're in your 20s, learning this stuff. But yeah, that's what it takes. But again, it's well, I'm just gonna put out some stuff here, like I'm doing right now. I'm just gonna put out some stuff on social media and hope maybe some people like it, and then we develop a relationship, instead of somebody just going and putting Facebook ads out there, paying for the result and tweaking these things, right? Or having a definite purpose behind your actions that's going to lead to the result. They all require costs. Sorry, my screen went off. I hope the video is still going. But anyways, resistance, it tends to show up as a circular motion. Like, I'm taking action, I'm taking all kinds of action, I'm doing all kinds of work, I'm just not getting the result, or I'm not getting the fulfillment. So there's a fascinating study I have here on the triune brain. I think it's pronounced triune. Yeah, triune brain. It adds another layer of understanding, okay? So our brains are programmed to avoid pain, right? So, I always learned, initially I learned, it's to avoid pain and gain pleasure, but it's actually to avoid pain, seek pleasure, conserve energy, all right, and conform. So biases, meaning confirm of what our beliefs are true. So it's our brain's job at all moments, at all times, whether you're conscious of it or not, your brain is trying to avoid pain, seek pleasure, conserve energy, and prove things are right, what it believes is right. That's what it does all day long. So resistance exploits these tendencies by discouraging discomfort. Okay, so promoting, instant gratification, conserving your energy, enforcing beliefs, like, I don't know why this one just came up, but if you let's put it this way. So these days we have these devices, right? So we have social media. Okay, so this is an easy one to understand. So when you're sitting here working, and you've probably heard, and I need to work on this a little bit, but you've probably heard while I've been talking, beeps, messages, notifications, they call them, right, been coming up. So if I stop this video, right, to answer that thing, pick up the phone, see who it is, what's the text, right? Those types of things, I want you to recognize what you do during the day, how many times you do that, because that takes you away from the focus, right? It's the instant, I'm working on this hard thing that involves time and effort and energy, and I got this thing over here, right? It's that shiny object syndrome, right? Or, it's like Pavlov's dog, like, this thing over here, this thing over here. So, what's another one? Yeah, I mean, anything that you're like, I should go to that networking event and meet some people, make some more friends, create some more relationships. But you know what? I'm kind of comfy here. It's a little cold out. I'm gonna put a blanket on and just chill and watch a movie, right? So that's it's instant comfort, instant gratification, and it keeps you from getting your goals. Enough on that. I don't have time to go deeper today, but if you want to go deeper, I'll put a link and you can go and get a free 30-day subscription to the program that I'm learning a lot of this from. But to overcome resistance, right? We need to consciously step out of our comfort zone. So we need to consciously do that. That's what you have to do. You have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to delay gratification, and we need to strengthen those muscles. How do we do that? You just do it, right? You just have to do it. You need to step out of your comfort zone when you're when I work with Tony Robbins, we learn this as pattern interrupts. So whenever you think about, like, there's this thing that's going to stop you, like, oh, that's uncomfortable, or ooh, this thing, we need to interrupt that pattern. We need to change it immediately. So whatever it is that's getting in your way, perfect example. And Russell Brunson talked about this when I was watching the video that he was teaching this on, and it's like he used to whenever he was doing something, like he's writing or typing creating a book, writing a book, and then he'd need a break, or he'd get a notification and he'd jump on Facebook. So he'd get on his phone, he'd get on Facebook, oh, this is cool, whatever. And then he'd go back to typing, right? So what he did was he deleted Facebook off of his phone, right? So that it's not there. It's not the distraction, it's not there. So if you start to recognize what are these things throughout the day that keep distracting me, keep me busy, keep me feeling like I'm taking action, but I'm not really achieving anything. What are those things? How do I eliminate those things? How do I get out of my comfort zone? Or, one that I always liked was delayed gratification. So it's funny. I learned this a long time ago. It's, if you're procrastinating on something, just procrastinate on procrastinating and do it now. Right. So delaying gratification would be if you want to do something, so there's something you want to do, but you're not doing it. You're not taking the action. You tell yourself, okay, there's something that I want, like I want to watch this movie, or I want to play this video game, or I want to, whatever it is, I want to do this thing. It's a pleasure thing, right? So our mind wants to create pleasure, right? So, okay, I'll do that thing. I'll do whatever it is that's going to seek pleasure, but I'm going to put it off. I'm going to delay gratification until I finish this book, until I finish this video, until I finish these phone calls. Whatever it is that you've got to be doing to really achieve, just delay the gratification, because a lot of times what I tell myself is, I'll go do that thing after I get this done. That will be my reward. That's probably a better way to put it. Create rewards. Like if you like to do something, maybe you have a favorite TV show, like I said, or whatever, going to the gym, things like that. Those are your rewards. Like I love going to the gym, right? So those are my rewards. So I say, yeah, I'll do that after. My reward for doing this, finishing this task that is going to move me, propel me forward, that's going to be my reward. So delayed gratification. Enough on that. Yeah. So Annie Grace, she has a filtering question. Is it good for me? Is it good for people I love? And is it good for the world? So we start to if we can start to evaluate what we're doing based on these questions. Is it good for me? Is it good for people I love? And is it good for the world? Right? It provides valuable decision-making filter. Okay. So one other way, you could think about this is this, like, for example, like, what do you call it? Gossip, right? So I don't gossip, so that's why I couldn't remember. So when you're talking to another person, you want to consider, is what I'm about to say going to make us feel better, right? Is it going to lift somebody else up, or is it going to be good for the world? Instead of like going in, is it going to hurt me? Is it going to hurt somebody else? Is it, that kind of stuff. So anyways, enough on that. So understanding that resistance will persist and learning to implement pattern interrupts is crucial, right? So Tony Robbins, he refers to this as the pause between stimulus and response, okay? So where can we make conscious choices? So there's the stimulus, there's something that happens, and then there's our response. But there's actually a space between that, and you can learn this if you read Viktor Frankl's book. I have it here, but if you look, it's called Man's Search for Meaning. Okay, so if you get that book, read that book. I'll probably at some point share some of the stuff out of that book. But Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, Tony Robbins had us read it. It's like one of his like top 10 books that he recommends. But when we started working with Tony, he had us read like, I don't know, 500 books. It was crazy. It's nuts. But that book right there, like we photo read, so we could read real fast. You know, we can read a lot of books. But that book, you know, Viktor Frankl, I don't want to get into the story, but he learned in Nazi concentration camps how to survive by figuring out that there's this space between stimulus and response, and how we react to that determines our results. Okay, so it enables us to choose the response that leads to growth and freedom. Okay, anyways, highly recommend that book. If you haven't read it, go get it. Couple more things. Creating pattern interrupts. Okay, it can be simple as rearranging your environment, deleting distracting apps, like I said, or consciously questioning default behaviors. Okay, so recognizing and acting in that crucial space empowers us to resist habitual responses. So what a pattern interrupt, what I recommend usually typically is, if there's like, there's a lot of ways you can do it, but it's like, I want to do this behavior, but I keep doing this behavior. So what a pattern interrupt is when you think about or start to take an action to do a behavior, or think a thought, or something that you want to change or improve, you instantly do something different. Okay, so instead of like, if I know these are extreme examples, but we used to use these when I first learned this 20 something years ago. We used to use these big thick rubber bands. Okay, and you guys might have seen this before, but it works. It hurts, but it works. Okay, so you wear a rubber band, thick rubber band. I was looking around for some. I used to have some, and I stopped using them. But you get this rubber band, and what I used to do is I'd snap it right here. I actually have scars. I used to have consistent like pain. You know, it breaks the skin. So a thick, you know, strong rubber band, not some little flimsy thing, but something that's going to like, you know, some kind of not insane pain, right? But little pain that, you know, if there's something that you keep doing, like smoking cigarettes, picking up a drink, keep getting on your phone, or keep doing something, you snap the wristband, or you keep thinking a thought you want to change, you snap the wristband, so it's pain. So I know that's extreme, but that's one way to pattern interrupt. The other way is to just change your movement. So if you start to do this thing, you do something else. You start to do this thing, you start to do something else. You start to condition that new behavior. So anyways, you can learn more about pattern interrupts, but, you know, if you want to ask me about them, that's great. We can talk in depth about it. But in summary, okay, we need to conquer this resistance. All right, we need to focus on action over circular motion, over just doing things, taking action, keeping our day busy. Right, we're not people. Tony Robbins always told me, we're not people doings. We're people beings. Right, we're beings. So who are you being today? What are you accomplishing? What are you experiencing? How are you getting fulfillment today, instead of what are all the things you're doing, right? You got this to-do list, and you just keep, you know, what happens to a to-do list, right? You fill up the to-do list, you don't finish everything, it goes on to tomorrow's to-do list, and then the next day's to-do list, and now you got this huge list, right, that half the stuff, or most of the stuff hasn't been done, right? So we're not human doings, we're human beings, right? It's a better way to put it. So really look at, how is resistance showing up in your life? How is it stopping you? What can you do to interrupt that pattern, right? What can you create? And it's going to be painful. It doesn't have to be physically painful. It could be emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physical, painful, but it has to be some type of thing that helps you separate the stimulus from the response. So create that gap between that. Well, I hope this benefited you guys. If it did, please like or share. Again, I'll send another link, or I'll post another link to get a free 30-day trial to Russell Brunson's Secrets of Success program. It's unbelievable. You know, obviously it's not his stuff. He's just, you know, he spent millions of dollars finding rare and unpublished books and trainings and teachings that are just not available anywhere, that no one's ever going to learn, and we need to get that learning out there. So anyways, if you like this, please comment, share, ask questions. Love to chat with you about any of this stuff. I know it's real brief. I got to head to the doctor right now. But thanks for watching, guys, and you have a blessed day. Take care.